Hello, Stu. How are you?
I was doing great.
Sorry, I know you are the same way.
Oh, I'm
just a wreck.
It's the worst.
If you don't have dogs, you don't have any idea.
Yeah. I mean, you remember President Miles.
Oh, yeah.
We got to that point with him. I mean, he couldn't even walk. He was really at the end of it. And
we waited too long with Ella because she was like that.
Yeah. We've talked about this off the air. I'm a wait guy.
I know.
Got to the point where basically my wife was like, we have to do something. And we called the place that was going to assist with this process. And they were supposed to come at 8 a.m. Literally, he died at 3 a.m.
Mm. Oh, that would be such
happened.
A blessing.
It's just
such a blessing. Although one of our best memories with Uno is when, Victor, was when we were all together as a family, and we just laid a blanket out on the floor. And
yep. This is a tough week for you. I'm sorry. There are things that are worse, but it feels like there's nothing worse.
I know. It's so weird. And then you think, gosh, you do. You feel that way about your own loved one when they get old, I feel that way about some of my teenage children at times. Can I put them down now?
Right.
I mean, it'd be an end to the pain. Mine, not theirs.
Yeah, how many trimesters is too many? When you get into the triple digits, it starts to feel bad.
It feels a little wrong. It feels a little wrong. But you look at it and you're like, how do you make that decision with other people? Did you see what's happening in Canada? Exactly what we predicted. They're loosening the reins on MAID, medical assisted. I don't remember, but it's medical suicide.
Yeah, right.
With doctors,
euthanasia.
Yeah, and this is a really bad line to cross. When you feel bad with your dog, I guess you could play it two ways, because it plays on you both ways. When you look at your dog and you're like, I don't want to put him down too early, but I don't want him in pain. You start to feel like, oh man, Aunt, Greta, she was in so much pain. You hate to see her in pain. You're going to put your dog down because of that, but your Aunt Greta is not a dog, It's just, is it just me? I mean, where that starts to play in your head on how do you feel about this with humans? If you're this concerned about your dog.
I kind of go, it's interesting you bring it up that way. I kind of go the opposite way of that.
Oh, no. I always end there.
Okay.
But it plays on me both ways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I tend to think, I think about life, someone brought up, there's some anniversary of Terry Schiavo. Of course you remember the Terry Schiavo case.
Yeah.
To the audience and making sure that they do. It's been about 25 years, right? Because it was 2000, if I remember right.
My daughter learned about it in school and she said, Dad, have you ever heard of Terry Schiavo? Oh. And I was like, excuse me?
Yeah.
What?
Very involved in that case. For those who were not around at that time, it was a long time ago now.
Yeah, we were deeply involved in that case, and we know the family and Terry and everything else. And we were great people, and we were very involved in that case. And she said, "This is just a horrible case. I just don't know what to think about it." And I said, "Well, and
allow me to illuminate."
Her mom said, "Well, you're going to the right person to ask because your father was very involved." And she's like, "What?"
Yeah. But I mean, that's, that case sort of helped form my viewpoint on these types of issues. And
me too.
God makes a lot of decisions and I don't want to necessarily get in the way of them. So I tend to very much lean in all of these cases towards, letting it go until it's absurd. I mean, I don't want, you don't want someone to be in utter pain. Obviously, but you start saying terms like quality of life, it makes me really uncomfortable.
No,
because of that. I mean, largely because of that case that we dealt with 20 years ago.
Life is life.
Life is life.
Life is life.
It's not your decision necessarily to make quality of life decisions. I mean, there are some cases where things are hopeless, and maybe there's a different choice to be made. But I don't even like. I like waiting as long as possible. if you have to be put in those positions. And it is a difficult thing for every family when it comes to a pet or, God forbid, a loved one. And, gosh, everyone knows you're going to go through this so many times. It's really depressing when you stop and think about it, because it's the worst moment of your life, and you're going to repeat it a lot of times, unfortunately, throughout your life.
2016, Canada introduced medical assistance in dying, MAID. It allowed somebody to be eligible for medical assistance if they were terminally ill. They could be assisted by medicine. By 2021, the need to be terminally ill has been removed now. And they just updated it to MAID by 2027 can be used by people suffering from mental illness and no physical illness.
Oh, my God. I mean, quite obviously, one of the big problems with mental illness is you are unable to process the information to make proper decisions.
And let's not forget, right now, we say Trump derangement syndrome is a mental illness, and I believe that. And the other side says, you're voting for Donald Trump, you're mentally ill.
Yeah.
Let's not go down the mental illness thing. That's a very bad thing.
No, and especially for people who are massively depressed. Like, obviously, the right decision is not to kill yourself in that situation. However, the reason why the situation is a problem is because you're not able to process that information properly, right? You're making you see things in a way that they aren't. And so to give that person the legal right, I mean, obviously they already sort of have the right, they can do it anyway. But the legal right to encourage it, to help it along, is a psychotic instinct by human beings.
It's psychotic. Did you hear about the parents that were with their child who was wildly depressed, and up in Canada, and they went to lunch down in the cafeteria? The doctors came in, talked to their child into MAID, had them sign MAID, so now it couldn't be reversed. And the parents come back from lunch and they're like, we're going to administer MAID. I'm sorry, what? And the medical profession could talk them into it, and because they didn't talk them into it, they just gave advice. They just gave their professional opinion. Now in Canada, 2 medical professionals have to agree.
Oh, 2! Wow,
yeah, 2.
The standard. Don't get the standards too high.
Even Germany had 3.
Right.
Germany had 3. Canada, just thought you should know that.
Wow,
it's crazy. This is why abortion stuff, everything is so important.
Yeah,
life, and scary. I'm sorry, I didn't even plan on talking about any of this.
That's
today.
tough.
It started with a Rough Greens commercial, and anyway.
Gosh, I hope our next commercial's something positive. Oh, my God. Patriot Mobile's coming up. We'll do that one. You probably shouldn't take that to anything about death, right?
Yeah, I don't. Well, let's try it.
Okay.
You ever think about switching your cell phone company? Then stop yourself from going any further than just thinking about it. You don't. It's not something that you just find a priority in your life. Not because you're in love with the one that you already have. They skin you like a shot deer every month, but because you assume that switching is going to come with a catch, it's going to be time-consuming, whatever. Worse service, spotty coverage, occasional frustrating conversation with a call center half a world away. It's not going to change things. Why? Just looking at your bill should change things. Let me tell you, when you make the switch to Patriot Mobile, you're not sacrificing anything, especially if you have iffy coverage. You're going to get the best coverage because they're on the exact same cell towers as the big 3. So you're going to switch over, but it's going to be through Patriot Mobile. They're on excellent networks. You'll get excellent U.S.-based customer service. You're not going to get somebody from India answering the phone. Your new phone plan will do everything it's supposed to do, and they'll do it cheaper. And you have the benefit of knowing that you're sending your money to a company that does not serve the pleasure of the extreme left, which is kind of refreshing, honestly. PatriotMobile.com/Beck. PatriotMobile.com/Beck, or call 972-PATRIOT. Get a free month of service with the promo code Beck. Switch today. PatriotMobile.com/Beck, or call 972-PATRIOT. 10 seconds. Station ID. There is a new housing development being proposed here in the Dallas, Texas area. It's sort of a mini city, and the governor of Texas has recently used words like Sharia law, and that the organizers might be trying to, quote, circumvent the law. The Texas Rangers have now been directed to investigate what the heck is going on. It's called Epic, and there is a slick video produced by Epic. That is the East Plano Islamic Center, Epic. Here's the video.
And now we embark on a new chapter of vision of harmony, where homes and hearts unite. 402 acres of beautiful scenery.
Grassy area with a
welcome to the future of living. Welcome to Epic City.
So they're kind of the blueprint of a planned community here.
Of Josephine, Texas. It is about 20 miles and 20 minutes from Epic.
Okay. Look, you want to build a Christian town. I don't really care, as long as the concept. Let me put it this way. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, otherwise known as the Mormons. I am not for a Mormon government in Utah. I'm not for a Mormon government in Salt Lake City. I'm for an American government, okay? You want to bring your church and your people together? That's fine. That's fine. But you don't at any time say, you know what, but our church takes care of these things, so we're going to have our own little court. Now, I'm not saying that is going to happen there. That's what's being bantied around, that it'll have Sharia courts and everything else. Not sure. That's for the, Texas to figure out. But, we have a court of Israel that if let's say there's abuse in a family, then the court of Israel comes in, our church comes in, and they deal with the spiritual side after we have alerted police. Okay? We let the police take care of the criminal stuff. The church takes care of the heart stuff. That's okay. But once you start crossing the lines of the church, or here possibly an Islamic center or a mosque, now starting to say, yeah, but we have our own laws, that's an absolute no-go zone. In America, no-go zones should mean the exact opposite than what they do in Europe. You want to put people together, that's fine. But this is America, period. So we're going to show you what is really happening over in Europe tonight with the spineless politicians. But we're also going to show you from the people that live there, the police tasked to enforce the law over in Europe. I'll show you the direct statements from the people involved, not the weak elected officials. This is how the no-go zone started in Europe. Is Europe's fate America's future? Don't miss the Wednesday night special tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern on Blaze TV, and tomorrow on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/glennbeck. How global elites betrayed America on trade and immigration. Tonight, you don't want to miss it. Do you remember the show we did years ago, Stu, when I had the two imams, and we were talking about Sharia law because there was rumors that they wanted to do this right here in our area, and there were rumors that they were going to do Sharia law. And I said, let's talk to them. Let's bring in the imams. And I brought them in, and, it was a very comfortable conversation, and I wanted to make it very comfortable. For one, if they had anything to hide, maybe they would have a conversation about those things because they'd feel comfortable. Otherwise, I don't have a problem with you. You don't want Sharia law. I'm totally cool. Well, one imam said, no, Sharia law, no. And then the other imam, in a moment of ultimate comfortability, Do you remember this? Said, well, I mean, we all agree that your hand should be cut off if you're stealing. And I was like, wait a minute, what? Mm-hmm. And we just pursued that for a while. And the other mom sitting there on the couch with him was like, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. And he went and, kind of revealed. And that kind of put a stop to that particular area in Texas going down the Sharia law. Is this another one? I don't know. But Ken Paxton is going to be on with us to talk about that here in about half an hour from now. Now, when we come back, I want to talk to you about Bagram Air Force Base. What is happening at Bagram? We're landing C-17s there? We don't own it.
This is Glenn Beck.
Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Baseball season always brings a little extra energy, but if you've ever wanted more than just watching highlights or checking box scores, Prize Picks is the easiest way to get in on the action. You don't have the draft rooms, you don't have the season-long commitment. With Prize Picks, you simply pick more or less on a handful of player projections and track how they perform. The app actually does that all for you, so it's very, very easy. It's quick to set up. It's easy to play. And it's genuinely fun to follow. You decide who's going to step up or fall short, get your picks right, and you could win up to 1,000 times your entry. The app is clean, it's fast, it's easy to use, and over 10 million people are already playing. Whether you're all about the numbers or you just want to get a better way to kind of stay plugged in, it's a long season. We've got to add the extra excitement. Prize Picks makes every game count. Download the app today. Use the code STU and get $50 instantly after you play only $5. The code is STU on Prize Picks. Get $50 instantly when you play only $5. Win or lose, you get that $50 just for playing. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Join me on Prize Picks and enjoy whatever season you're interested in. It's prizepicks.com.
All right. Welcome to the program. Tonight, we've got our Wednesday night special. If you're not a member of Blaze TV, you need to become one. Use the promo code Glenn, blazetv.com. Welcome to the Glenn Beck program. I'm probably going to talk about this tomorrow. Stephen Moore is going to be on with me in about an hour from now, and we're going to touch on this. I just want you to know that if you are, if you pay attention to what's happening in the markets, you'll see the Fed, the treasuries are going up. That's the opposite of what should be happening right now, and that is because of something called basis trade. And it's a very, very big deal if it's not turned around. The hedge funds playing fast and loose, and now they got their foot caught in the door, and it's almost a 2008 kind of thing if it doesn't get under control quickly. It's really not a good thing. Not caused by the tariffs, but kind of pushed over the edge because of the tariff. It's the unwinding of this thing that has been a problem for a long time. And I just want you to know we're aware of it and we're watching it for you. And I'll have more on that tomorrow. I might be able to get to some of it later on in the program today. Let me go to Jason Buttrill. He's former Department of Defense intelligence analyst, and he is also our head writer and head of research here at the Glenn Beck program. And Jason, there is something that I did not expect to read, and maybe ever. A C-17 aircraft from ours took off in Doha on our military base and arrived at Bagram on Sunday. It was said to be carrying senior U.S. intelligence officials, including the CIA deputy chief, military equipment, et cetera, et cetera. Now, there's rumors that the Taliban handed the base over to us, which I don't think that happened just because of the kindness of their hearts. And I have a feeling I don't know what kind of if this is true, I don't know what kind of deal we had to make with the Taliban to get that base back, because that base is strategic like nobody's business if you're going into any kind of war with China. Jason, can you fill us in on this? What's true? What's not? What do you read from this?
Yeah, so none of this is official. This news report came out because there's people on the ground that are watching flight trackers. They saw this flight take off. They saw it land. And then the rumors spread from there, from the whole thing about, the Taliban handing over Bagram to us is probably a complete and total pipe dream at the moment. I don't know where it goes eventually. It could. But of course, the Taliban denied it. Like they can't be seen, handing over facility in their that's what sparked off Al Qaeda, in Saudi Arabia, having us, at their military bases.
Yep.
They're not going to admit that,
right?
But I do see we have to look at the state of the world and kind of think about during the Cold War. Can you imagine, Glenn, if during the Cold War the media landscape was how it is now? So that, who are these Contra people? Like, what are we dealing with? Or who are the Sandinistas? Like, this news would be everywhere, nonstop. And we're going to start seeing that with this trade war that's going on right now.
And by the way, I think it's important for us to say, I think it's official. We are in a trade war. China just retaliated again a second time. What was it number this time? 54%?
They added another 50%. So they're up to 84% now.
And we're up to
104.
104. So we're at a trade war. And then
Europe as well.
Europe just
retaliated with 25% as well.
So this is not a good thing. You don't like trade wars. Trade wars are not a good thing. Stephen Moore, Art Laffer have been advising the president, and Stephen's going to be on with us here in about 45 minutes. Oh, not confirmed yet? Okay. He will. We've been chatting this morning on text all morning since about 4 a.m., both of us wide awake going, what's happening in the world? But anyway, we are at a trade war. So why does that play a role with Bagram?
Well, we're going to start seeing activity, beyond tariffs. Tariffs are the main lever, but we're going to see some clandestine activity and other moves from like our intelligence services, maybe even military movements in the middle of this, because right now between the United States and China, it is a very, big and competitive world and issue between the both of them. And I think this is squarely about China. I really think it does. That's what was so scary about handing over Bagram to begin with, because that's a major part of their Silk Road initiative. So one of their major trade objectives is to be able to have a land route through places like Afghanistan. So I think that there's a big issue that both us and the Taliban can agree on, if you can believe that, and that is the elimination of ISIS-K in Afghanistan. That's their affiliate in Afghanistan. The Taliban doesn't like them. I believe they've worked with them in the past, but now it's a completely different state of the game for them between the two groups. So I can see them making concessions to allow us to, let's say, operate some intelligence assets out of there or use it in some way. I think we are seeing the beginnings of that negotiation right now with this. That's my opinion.
Can you believe after all those years at war with them, there's the possibility that we're going to need their help with China? I mean, that's insane. That's insane. And none of this would have happened had we not just handed them the base. That was the dumbest thing I've ever heard. We paid how many billions for that base?
Oh, gosh.
I mean,
way too many.
Yeah, too many billions of dollars in that base. And we just handed it to them. Just handed it to them. What? And we left all of our equipment there. Now, there's a couple of other reasons that, you can speculate on. Are we doing counterterrorism or intelligence operations in that area? Maybe not with just China or not against China, but also, this is a central place to be for Russia and China, for the United States. Make sure we have a foothold in that. What do you think we would have to? What do you think we would have to offer the Taliban to get this?
Well, I think that I don't think we'd be giving them anything, but I do think that we would, offer our services. Like, I don't even call it offer our services, but show that we both have the same enemy in ISIS-K. And I don't think that we'd be sharing anything with them. But I mean, if you look at our relationship with Afghanistan, while the Taliban pre-2001 was in place, we didn't have a major foothold in Afghanistan. We had intelligence operatives if within the country clandestinely and outside the country. That's how we managed the terror threat before. I think we're moving into a more aggressive phase where that is our stance in that area. We have some intelligence assets in the country. We have some intelligence assets in places like Pakistan and other places. Not a major military footprint. I don't think that's going to happen again. I really don't. I don't think Bagram will ever be fully turned over to us again. I don't think that's going to happen. But I could see some kind of accommodation to allow, let's say, and this is very dangerous, like a la Benghazi, like a compound or something like that we do operate out of, like a handful of intelligence assets. Extremely dangerous, but I can see them moving in that direction. And so what does that give us, Glenn? That lets us attack terrorists, which is what we want to do. We don't want them to get larger groups within Afghanistan. That benefits the Taliban as well, but it also lets us keep an eye on who is using that airbase also. Are the Chinese there? Are the Russians there? More importantly, are the Chinese there? That's what I think is going on.
What is the Chinese relationship with Afghanistan? Because they've got to, Chinese need Afghanistan too.
Chinese absolutely need Afghanistan for Silk Road. And look what they've done in places like Africa. They move in and offer the world. We'll build this super highway. We'll build up this infrastructure. Eventually, the way they structure those deals, Afghanistan becomes a slave to China because they're on the hook for $1 trillion in infrastructure payback. That's how China exerts force. So that's China's stake in this game, and that's probably what they're maneuvering to do. We would want to stop them from doing that in this overall trade war, looking down the road a decade, 2 decades from now.
Everybody I've talked to, everyone has said to me, Glenn, in a trade war with China, if we get into if this doesn't back off, we're both in real trouble. China has got to have us, and we really have to have China for our medicines and everything else. And I said, so which one of us wins in the end? And it's like any war. You don't know. Whoever can stomach it the longest, I guess, is the answer. Your thoughts on what we're entering and how Europe is now responding?
History teaches us so much. And if you look at the world post-World War II, it was very similar to, who was that Japanese geopolitics person or philosopher? I can't remember, where he said that this was the end of history. But he was talking about, I think, was he talking about World War I or World II? I can't remember.
One, I think. But
he said this is the end of the history because the world is so interconnected, we're not going to want to go to war again. Well, that's complete bullcrap. You look at, books like The Clash of Civilizations that pointed out that, well, actually, people are just going to move into their own, racial or race or identity. And that will be the new, spark for war going forward.
Sure.
But the solution to that, thinking that this is the end of history, was to fully interconnect all these countries, the entire world, so that if we go to war or, whatever, that we all suffer for it. So we won't do it. So it's the end of history.
Right.
Well, that system that we built made it to where we are dependent on all these other countries. We're dependent on China for our all of our, was it 75%, I believe, of our medicines. 75%. We depend on this country for all of these rare earth minerals. We're dependent everywhere. That is the system they built. They never thought it would turn around and bite people, even though we saw in COVID that was completely wrong. We are in bad shape, and it's not sustainable.
That's
so now,
hang on just a second. That is the scariest thing, because when you fully understand that, then you understand what the president is doing, and then you're looking at it going, geez, but that doesn't give us relief right away. This is going to cause a lot of temporary pain, and maybe I don't know what temporary even means. It will be temporary, but it's going to cause a lot of pain, and I'm not sure that the American people even understand truly what's going on. They think it's just about the economy. It's not. It's about changing everything.
Yeah, and people rightly point out that change doesn't happen overnight. And that's exactly right. I mean, how many billions of dollars does it take for a company to set up a plant or manufacturing facility within the United States? It's billions of dollars. How long does it take to build those? 3 to 5 years once they finally pull the trigger. We're only in the negotiation stage.
I know.
So we're talking about a long, far off in the distance plan that we're just negotiating.
Right.
It has to be done. It's unsustainable.
And
but we are seeing the beginnings and the pain now.
And it's only going to get worse if we don't do anything. But we have to understand the pain may be a long time. This is a 100-year plan, longer than that now, being turned overnight, and it's going to cause some shocks along the way. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate it. Let me tell you about Simply Safe. Dad wakes up in the middle of the night, sound of the notification and the glow of his phone, 1:14 a.m. His eyes adjust, looking at it, he sees the message, garage entry sensor triggered. Dad sits up, straight up in bed, ready to take whatever action he has to. He listens. He hears nothing. House is quiet. Almost too quiet. He opens the Simply Safe app, blinks away the rest of the sleep from his eyes, and looks at the live feed. He can see everything. And there in the garage is a single figure. Hoodie pulled up, shoes in his hand as he tiptoes towards the back door. After a moment, Dad smiles despite himself. It's no burglar. It's the one related to him. There's no confrontation, no lights flipped on, only a text message sent on the phone of the intruder, a single line. You're busted, young man. We'll talk in the morning. And that's it. He rolls over, goes back to sleep. Dad 1, teenager 0. Thanks to Simply Safe. Visit simplysafe.com/Beck. Claim 50% off the new system with a professional monitoring plan and get your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/Beck. There is no safe like Simply Safe.
This is Glenn Beck.
Architect of January 6th.
So there was a time when watching a Christian movie felt more like a guilt trip than entertainment, and it wasn't that long ago. You kind of did it because you thought you were supposed to do it, and the message was solid. There's nothing wrong with that. The production,
I gotta
not so much.
I have to invite my friend to see this because I really feel like it's an important message. And then you get in there and you're so uncomfortable because the message is all the movie, and you're like, oh god, I hate this so much. Yeah.
It's true.
That's the way it used to be.
It used to be. Angel Studios really has changed that, and they're doing it again this weekend with a movie called King of Kings. That world is changing. Angel Studios, they did Sound of Freedom. They did so many other great movies. And their newest film might just be the most powerful thing they've done yet. King of Kings, concept is simple. Basically, a dad tells his son the story of Jesus, but through the imagination of the boy, it turns into this sweeping, emotional, animated journey. It is bold. It is beautiful. It pulls you into the life, the miracles, and the sacrifice of Christ in a way that is truly unforgettable. And the cast is no joke. They've got voices: Uma Thurman, Ben Kingsley, Forrest Whitaker, Mark Hamill. It's a big movie, and it's obviously a great message. So this Easter, do not settle for fluff. Share something that actually means something. Go see King of Kings. Take your friends, take your family members. I'm going to be doing that. You should as well. The King of Kings hits theaters Friday, April 11th. Go to angel.com/Beck. Get your tickets right now. Angel.com/Beck.
Welcome to the Glenn Beck program. We have the guy who's going to run against John Cornyn in Texas.
I'm excited about that.
Ken Paxton going to be joining us in just a little while. We're going to talk about something that is called, Epic? A town here, right down the street here in Dallas, Texas, that is going to be a new Islamic town. And the governor is investigating everything else. We'll have more on that tonight on our Wednesday night
kind of like
special.
Wally World, but it's a little different, but it's similar.
Yeah, Wally World if they cut your hands off. So
I hope that's not it.
No, hopefully that's anyway.
Yeah, Lawrence Summers.
Yeah,
you know him. He was a big economist. He was a big Obama guy, but also was a big guy warning of the Biden inflation. Yeah. So he's not
generally fair.
Yeah, even though I don't agree with all of his policy prescriptions, but he is concerned about something you brought up off the air this morning about this divergence of the stock prices, which are going down, the market's going down, and interest rates going up. One of the kind of like secondary justifications of this policy that I was hearing from some people on the right were like, well, what he's doing is he's trying to lower rates.
Yeah.
Right. And
I even said Monday, that's not what, I don't think that's what he intended, but that is one of the benefits. However, that's not what's happening.
No, the opposite is happening.
Yeah.
He points out long-term interest rates are gapping up even as the stock market moves sharply downwards. This highly unusual pattern suggests generalized aversion to U.S. assets in a global financial market. We are being treated by global financial markets like a problematic emerging market. Like how you look at like one of these, there's something going on. It's the economy is being upended in Rwanda, and like so countries want to stay away from it. He's seeing that type of thing here. Now he could be wrong, obviously, but that is concerning because of all of our debt and all of the other things built up over stuff that Trump had nothing to do with going back years and years and years and years.
Again, I will bring you back to Trump's not an idiot.
No,
he's not surrounded by idiots, and there's enough people around him to say your presidency is over if this is, if this changes the economy and we go down the tubes. He knows that. Just self-interests. He knows that.
Mm-hmm.